Thank you very much, Bracho, and a very good QRM. Thank you. A very good afternoon, everybody. It's a real pleasure to be here, and I want to extend, first of all, thanks to Mirko, Bracho, and the rest of the team for welcoming me here and to receive the invitation to come. First time in Croatia, first time in this region, and you've all been very welcoming and friendly. Thank you very much for that. So this WRTC thing then. So what I'd like to do is just give a bit of an update with our progress, talk you through some of the work we're doing currently, and a bit more information on what to expect in 2026 itself. I appreciate that many of you will be trying to qualify and maybe also thinking of coming over to offer your support by way of volunteering to help us with numerous tasks. But just talking about WRTC and spreading the word and supporting us in that way is very, very much appreciated. Just a bit of a refresher on the life of WRTC. It's been going now for approaching 35 years. Very successful program that's toured the world, as you would expect to see with, similarly, the Olympic Games. And we do regard this as the Olympic Games, and we try to, in the planning and the management of this event, we try to mirror as much as possible the Olympic approach. And of course, the most recent history is fresh in our mind still from Bologna last year, and a tremendous job in Italy. And we look back through all of the historic WRTCs. We learn so much from the good jobs that they have achieved. So we're very honoured. The team and the UK Hams are very honoured to be hosting the 10th event. A quick update on our team. I know many of you will have already seen this slide, but a slight update. We have 2 additional committee members. Philip, Delta Kilo 6 Sierra Papa, of course, very well known in the contesting and DXing field. He has joined us to primarily support us with our youth push in 2026, and we'll be approaching that from a number of different angles, so I'll come on to that in a little while. And also Andy, M0DXR, also has the contest call Golf 1 Alpha. He is joining us to help with sites, finding sites. He has some very good connections in his role within the military field, and has access and contacts to a number of people in the region of the sites. So Andy joins us as a committee member. No other updates, but you can see that we have a team looking after fundraising specifically in North America to help us in that region. And also an IT team, a couple of individuals helping us with planning for the media at the event in performing some live streaming activity, and also Philip and Alan G4DJX helping with our youth activities. This is the original project plan, and we're on track. The red line represents the current date, and as you can see, we have a number of parallel activities taking place. But it's mainly around the field of pushing our sponsorship campaign to raise funds. The budget for the event is about $500,000, so it's a real challenge for us. And we are now into the phase of identifying sites, communicating with site owners, whether that be hams in their QTH or an area of military or historic military use, old airfields, and farmland. There's an awful lot of farmland and agricultural potential in the region. We are promoting as much as possible, doing as many shows and events and conventions as we can to help spread the word and gain understanding of the project. And also, we welcome any feedback. The IT side, so we have regular social media and website communication and updates happening all the time. And another big activity which we are almost ready to communicate is the location of our headquarters venue, which will be the heartbeat of WRTC. So this is a summary of what we have achieved so far to date. So we've been working now for 20 months, we're about halfway through the project, unbelievably, and we've created our core team of committee, organising team, wider management team. We registered WRTC 26 as what we call a community interest company in the UK. This is a non-profit organisation. And we launched our various social media channels, the website. We released the qualification criteria in pretty much a year ago, just over a year ago now. We've been working hard on raising focus of the event, the project, in the press. We started our sponsorship campaign, and there are a number of angles that we approached that. We have successfully concluded the transaction of acquiring a large amount of hardware from WRTC Italy, and that is now in our possession, and we are checking the equipment and making sure it is ready. We have to add to that somewhat for some other activity. We had 50 kits from Italy, and we have 50 stations, so we have to acquire some more for headquarters activity and also contingency. We signed the contract with our headquarters venue in December, so not too far off a year from doing that, and that was following a down selection process. We have released merchandise and memorabilia which is available. The log processing and live standings is an ongoing activity, and I'll come on to some of the details of that. And we've been working hard on building a network of volunteers that can help in a number of different ways, different skills, making sure that they're receiving communication and kept in the loop. So a little bit about the qualifying contest. So we are right in the heart of the qualifying process, and actually we only have 4 qualifying events remaining, the 2 CQ Worldwides and the 2 ARRL 25. Each contest is a different stage of publishing results, and then we have to process those results in order to update the standings for the WRTC qualifying points. And as you can see on this slide, the events which have already taken place: All Asian IARU, Work Tour Europe CW, All Asian Sideband, and then Work Tour Europe SSB. We're waiting for the results. We have already Work Tour Europe DX, and that's the one that we are processing currently, so expect to see that one enter on the standings very shortly. So 7 out of 15 results have been published, and we are working on that number 7 currently for our WRTC side of things. And the final event, which will be ARRL Sideband in March next year, we expect the results to be published in August 25. So it's going to be roughly 11-12 months ahead of the event. We will know the team leaders. So it is quite a challenging process to analyze the logs, run through those. It is not a copy and paste activity, unfortunately. There are a number of different reasons for that. So the contest results are very entry-centric, and we need to make them operator-centric. So that means going through the logs, making sure that the qualification area for those operators is known, and whether this is one of their out-of-area activities, whether they're intending to actually qualify from a different area to their home. So there's operator communication to do there to clarify. And as it says, it's surprising how many contesters move around and operate from different places, and that can sometimes be in a different country in the same qualification area. It can sometimes be in a completely different qualification area altogether, and also on multi-op entries, quite often operators are not listed, and then we get emails in, notes in saying I was an operator at this station. And of course we have limits on the number of out of area entries that were accepted for a home area. So there is a maximum of 3 out of areas, so we have to make sure that they are not being exceeded. And of course there are limits on how many operators can gain WRTC points from a multi-op entry. So there's all these factors to consider, and this is being head up by Lee G0MTN, who works tirelessly on this. So very much a manual process. We're using an Excel-based database, if you like. All of the entries are imported in for the checking process, cleaning, before they then get sent on to our webmaster, to M0SQL for putting live on the website. And you can see there's a standings table shown there for this area. So a nice little bit of competition coming in, and certainly in this area. So it will be interesting to see how it ends. So if, as I mentioned, if you are operating a special call sign, it is very important that you do list your own call in the Cabrillo file and the log entry, so that we can easily pick that up, and so that we can then allocate the points correctly to that operator. So that is just a gentle reminder. But it is surprising the number of entries that you get where this is not the case, and the wrong call signs are listed, or O's are entered, zeros are entered as O's, and vice versa. And it's very confusing. So a little bit about the competition rules. So we've spoken about the qualifying rules, but what about the actual competition itself? So this is currently being reviewed by the organising committee. We have a proposed set of rules, and the next stage is for that to be submitted to the sanctioning committee, who have to review. They ask questions. We make any tweaks before we release the rules. We had a short survey which we released some time ago, and thank you very much to everybody who took the time to respond to that survey. And based on that, there's obviously some very interesting thoughts around the category, the multi-single versus the multi-tour approach. And as I say, that is all currently going through. I think we're pretty much there, so we'll be forwarding that onto the sanctioning committee very soon. So keep an eye out on the social media and on the website for that, because I know that there are many which are eager to start, planning their activity, their hardware, start building, potentially building filters and all this kind of thing. So QRX a little bit longer on that one. We receive an awful lot of feedback. We would like more feedback, so please keep that coming, because it's very useful, not only for our event. It may be too late for our event. The qualifying rules are set. We're not changing any qualifying rules at this stage, certainly, but we are building up a list of lessons learned or information to pass on to the next WRTC, so for 2030, 2034 and beyond. So we would like to do a lessons learned wash-up session and a formal handover to the next hosts. So keep that coming. It's all very useful information. I mean, one thing that we learned very quickly was that there is no perfect solution to running WRTC. So the expectations on that have to be managed. But we try to make it as good as we can, as fair as possible for everybody on a global scale. And that's quite challenging, especially as we factored back the total number of teams slightly, so that meant less qualifiers, which means that we have to reduce the number of team slots available in some of the qualifying areas. And we've tried to be data-driven on that to help us. So there are many things which will stay the same that we're seeing repeating from Boston, from Italy, and now in the UK. There will be some new things. But this all changes and matures over time, and new technology becomes available. We have to try and keep up to date with that. We are incredibly focused on youth. We have a relatively high ratio of youth teams compared to when you consider the total number of teams. And we also want to provide the opportunity for youth that are not qualifying for the event to experience WRTC. And I'll come on to that shortly. Referees, so we will need, of course, 50 50 referees. These applications will become live in 2025. So if you are interested in becoming a referee, we've had a lot of people come to us and say, I'd like to be a referee. Stay tuned and get ready for your application soon. With youth, so I mentioned that we have the 4 qualifying youth teams. We also have a youth education program which we will run at WRTC. This is where we'll have school visits, kids coming in, learning about WRTC, learning about amateur radio and the excitement and using this competitive side as a harness for young people. This is really important because it provides the foundation for the future of contesting and therefore the future of WRTC. So we want to make sure that we are doing our bit. So these youth visits that are not currently radio amateurs will get involved in things like a little bit of theory, a little bit of practical, try Morse code, get on the air, and get hungry for more. And then we will give them everything they need to follow the WRTC competition that following weekend. And then Philip, of course, is very tuned into to the youth side of our hobby, so we're using Philip to help us as much as possible. We will set up at our headquarters a dedicated WRTC-style station purely for youth, non-qualifying youth operators to come, take part in the contest, WRTC style, not as qualifying entrants, but just to try the contest, see how they do, get them excited, and hopefully they will consider 2030. Bit of a refresher on the location. East Anglia, southeast England, these 2 dark red counties, Suffolk to the south and Norfolk to the north. So we will be finding 55 sites, 5 contingency. Our headquarters venue is located to the west of this region and will serve them well. It also has good connections to London, the main airports, railway lines, so transportation should be relatively easy. This area is quite flat, it's good terrain, and I mean, when you consider that it was likely once connected to the Netherlands, being on the east, it maintains that very flat land. So we don't see too much in the way of hills, but we will be selecting the sites based on consistent flat land. We will arrange the sites, as many as possible we would like to cluster the sites. This offers logistical benefits such as a spares pool that can serve multiple sites, and also human resource can be utilized in a more efficient way. So we can separate the stations by about 500 meters or more, and being 100-watt stations, we can get away with that. And as I mentioned earlier, we're looking at a number of different types of locations, such as privately owned back gardens, orchards, farms, country parks, potentially field day sites, as long as they're not too high up. Maybe the HF field day sites, not the VHF ones. So this is all currently work in progress, and the 2 Andys on our committee are busy with that currently. We will run portable style tents, generators, will be away from buildings. There are pros and cons of each approach. I think for us, the benefits of getting away from any potential noise source is very important, so we want to make sure we manage that as best we can. So tents, 30-foot mast, tri-band Yagi, 223 configuration, exactly the same as in Bologna. And then we'll have an operator's tent, a support team tent, a generator, and supply the necessary tables, chairs in the operator's tent with the power meters. We received the container from Bologna and we unpacked, and I have to say a tremendous job by the Italian team on packing this equipment. It was very well done, and everything transported smoothly. So here you can see the antennas and the masts, very well constructed masts, very strong, very heavy, and we'll give them a service just to make sure they're still functioning correctly. We have stakes, stake sets and dipoles there on the right. A lot of coax, 3 times 50 meters times 50. and then 50 rotators, 50 station sets, which consist of some of the Raspberry Pi equipment, and also for the score reporting, and also power meters. We will test the sites. A part of that is that we will run the IERU contest next July for a dry run, so we'll use the WRTC equipment, the antenna equipment, and we can test the sites. And we can also publish the logs so that operators around the world can analyze them and become familiar with propagation. On-site accommodation, that we can have these large ceremonies, so the opening and the closing ceremonies we expect to be looking after around 500 people, so it had to be suitable. We wanted it to have good links to the sites and the airports and roads and the railway. The IT infrastructure needs to be stable so that we can support the WRTC sites, and we need to be able to live stream coverage, and we down selected from 4 potential HQ venues, and that was an interesting process. We got very close to signing a contract with another venue, but we decided that it was too small, and that's when we moved on. We will announce the HQ venue next Saturday. So next weekend is the RSGB's annual convention, and we're giving a presentation there, and we will announce it there, and it will become live exactly the same time on the website and on our social media. Contact us if you wish to register interest for accommodation and coming to the event. The venue won't be able to help. If you come straight to us, we're managing that process. So we expect hundreds of international visitors, and we welcome everybody. We will do our best to accommodate everyone as much as we can. We'll run an opening ceremony. We will have a number of meetings where we brief the competitors, the referees, to make sure everyone is absolutely clear and has got the opportunity to ask questions. We'll have some visits to the sites, and obviously allow the operators to set up their stations. I mentioned the school visits. They'll be taking place. We'll have some tours for sightseeing and trips to local areas. Like there are some very interesting places, such as Bletchley Park is not far away, and also Duxford Imperial War Museum is pretty close as well, and it's a very interesting visit. We'll have 2 on-site stations at the HQ, one dedicated for youth and the other one for visitors to operate, and they will be exactly the same stations as the WRTC stations. We'll also have some remote stations set up by Whiskey 1 Victor Echo, who will set up, I'm not sure exactly how many, 3 or 4 perhaps. They'll be set up at the HQ for you to operate stations around the world from the HQ. We'll continue with the Ham Widow's Ball. This has been a success over many WRTCs, and W60AT and his partner will be helping us to organise that. We will of course do the allocation of the sites, so the drawing of the sites, the referees and the call signs will take place as usual. We expect to have a lot of fun, so it's an opportunity to socialise, and that's very important, very high on the priority list. We'll run the contest, of course, and then of course the log checking, the adjudication process kicks in, and we will have a nice big party at a closing ceremony. We'll celebrate hard because it's very well earned, this opportunity to be at WRTC before we close the event. Volunteers, this is where we currently stand. So we have registered 188 volunteers currently, which is pretty good, I think, and a lot of people have offered their services in a number of different ways, and this just breaks down where. So most volunteers are saying, I'm more than happy to help with anything. That's the big blue. But then we have specifics on helping out with station build, the red. Transport, so this is the transporting to the sites, to and from the sites from HQ, and potentially some airport runs as well. Other logistics at the HQ venue. Hospitality, which probably falls in almost the same bracket. Some people are offering a combination. So yeah, we have a good spread, but if you would like to offer yourself as a volunteer and come to the UK, please let me know. and you would be most welcome. We have the merchandise available on the website, so sweaters, t-shirts, caps, mugs, Morse keys. We have another Morse product coming soon in the next couple of months, so stay tuned for that one. Fundraising is a big piece, and thanks to Bradshaw for helping with that here, but we have a number of corporate sponsors and clubs already on board. We're looking for more. We have still a big task ahead of us to make this actually happen. But we are talking to potential corporate sponsors, radio clubs, individuals, which everyone gets listed on the website. We try and provide social media recognition for all sponsors. It's very important to provide that recognition because we appreciate the contribution very much. We have the sponsored teams, of course, as well, and we have currently two sponsored team positions available. This will go through a bidding process, which is now live, so we're accepting bids now up to April next year. And then we'll have a second round of bidding, only eligible to bidders in the first round. And then we will obviously announce the two which get the sponsored team position. The reason it says minimum 2 there is because we wanted to limit it really to 2. If we do have a need to increase down for financial reasons, because obviously this is a really important piece of fundraising for us and could be the difference between it going ahead and not, so we need to assess that later. The tent sponsor program is going very strong. I would say we probably have over half of our tents allocated to a sponsor currently, so there are still some available. And we've got a number of clubs, individuals, recognising silent keys, and is quite a common theme, and that's a really nice thing to do. So yeah, please let me know if you're a member of a club that may want to help, or you're an individual that would like to sponsor a tent. We'll hold raffles, as we've seen before, and there are promised to be some very good prizes indeed on offer so far, from what I've heard from donors for 2026. So that will be another one. We'll probably run some auctions, and then of course we'll have this hardware left at the end, which we've got some ideas on what we want to do with. We're thinking about how can we help youth with that available hardware. Again, more on that soon. This just is the tent. Yeah, come and speak to me if you would like to learn more about that. We've got our coin program, so this is a 3-year program. We have been offering a bronze coin this year for all donations of £100 plus, and these are quite unique. I have some here, so if you would like one, please come and see me. But it's an opportunity to put something into something that we love and we'd like to see continue. Anything that you can give is greatly appreciated. And then we will have the silver coin coming in 2025. So from January 2025, we will have the silver one, and to get the collection, the gold one in 2026. Okay, that's pretty much what I had to say. That's about 30 minutes, so almost there. Thank you very much to the ICC. It's great to be here, and I look forward to speaking to more of you soon in the bar, and I'll take any questions. Thank you.